Hey you, good evening and morning to you. It's Back to You Fridays, where I get back to your comments, talk about sci-fi, Star Citizen, and other things going on in the industry. Let's get it cracking, man. Clontroper 5, not sure if I'm saying that right. Now we can drool over giant cargo ships we can't crew. So he's saying that because on my post I said, while everybody drooling over gigantic military ships they can't crew, the Drake Fatterpillar got me geeked. Good to see big ships outside the combat niche. What I say to you, sir, is that it's a cargo ship. You can run that with probably one person, two people, one person really, because I mean, it's gonna be a pain, but it'd be a pain in the same way that the reclaimer is a pain. You know, you can just get out the seat and then go do all the jobs, strip the ships, crack the ships, stack your boxes. You can do it solo, but you know, obviously the more the merrier. So I get where you're coming from, but it's not the same because the Polaris, man, you're not doing nothing in that ship by yourself besides moving it around. You can use it as a base of operations. That'll be a beautiful thing for a lot of people who just want to live outside the stations and cities, hop in a ship, log in and out right there. But with the Fatterpillar, you can use the ship for its intended functions with nobody else around. Wouldn't recommend it though. That's a lot of loading, offloading, or feed. Fat or pillar. I've seen a lot of people typing it out the same way, fat or pillar, which I'm sticking to my guns here, man. It just don't sound right, don't look right. I know people are pronouncing it fat or pillar, but it looks like fat or pillar. Or when you don't have the first three letters capitalized like that, it just looks like fader pillar. So I'm gonna stick with Fatterpillar because it's a fatter caterpillar. Fatterpillar, know what I mean? McCalhoun, what's the oldest SC ship sold that still isn't in game yet? How many years has it been since they sold it and still haven't made it available in game yet? And I believe that is him referencing announcing a new ship without finishing the old ships. There's an answer to that. It's got to be like the IDRISS or the Kraken, maybe the Javelin, maybe even the Pioneer. But those are ships we can't have anyway right now, as in the game's not ready for them yet. Commander Thrud, it's a super cool ship. My only issue is when. We've already got a backlog of large ships. They keep adding more while complaining about how long each one takes to make. Instead of new ships, I wish they'd hype up some of the old ones with new sales, reconcepts if needed, and then just get them built. You know, I've seen a lot of people say that, not even just in reference to the Fatterpillar dropping. I'm not gonna call it the Ironclad. I don't know. It's the Fatterpillar. It's the fatter caterpillar. But anyway, over the years, a lot of people say the same thing. It's not a new statement. They want the old ships to come out instead of announcing new concepts. But you gotta really look at it though. Now that the capital ship phase production has begun, you got your PERSEUS and your POLARIS on the way. Other than that, the reason why you don't see these old ships is things like tech blockers, no supporting gameplay enabled yet, low priority, or they just became a concept in the last few years. If you take a look at what the backlog is, it's a ship I grabbed off of Reddit. Shout out to this dude whose name I can't remember. My bad, homie. You got things like the IDRISS, Kraken, Javelin, the Merchantman, which they dropped a few steps on that because the people who were integral to that ship are no longer with the company. Then got a Nautilus, which mine layer, no real need for that in the game. I'm not sure if they can do it in the game today. Maybe they could, I don't know. The Vulcan, you need drone gameplay for that. That's not ready yet. The big holes, whole series like the D and E, the Pioneer. I mean, we would love to have that in there, but there's nothing for the Pioneer to do. The Liberator, I mean, we talking about a ship here that's probably 2 years in concept. Crucible, Legionnaire, was that last year they announced that? Maybe the year before. The Endeavor. That would be useless to put that in the game right now. So the point is that there isn't any real backlog except for ships that they can't really put in the game right now. I would love to see the Genesis Starliner, but there's no passenger gameplay for it, you know? It is what it is, my friend. So it's good that they putting out new concepts that they can do something with. And the Fatterpillar is a beautiful ship, man. That top loaded cargo bay, magnifique. Make it easier for pirates to take stuff, offload your ship onto their ship. But I mean, I think it's an exciting thing. You can have that new Argo ship in there so that as soon as you get somewhere, you can start loading up to the big 16 SCU boxes in and out of the ship. I don't know up to what size ship you can land in there, but it looks like a lot of space. I want to get some specs, man. I don't think they've put anything out as far as specs. They didn't put any specs on ISC on there, but man, I'm really anxious to see what size that is, just to get an idea of what you can put in it, how it measures up to some of the other ships. I'm not one of those guys who has to have, I need these big ships, because I don't really have a lot to do with those things. I don't run with a ton of people. You know, we got a squad, and it's rare that you find a capital ship like a Polaris size crew hanging out in there, except for maybe on the on our weekend events. Shout out to Captain Rico for organizing those, and SFC Demon for organizing those, making those happen. But yeah, the Fatterpillar just looks new. I don't mean new as in time. It's going to be one of the new ships. It's a new idea with the top loading cargo bay. You got this ship where it's got the bay, and on one side you've got something to do, on the other side you got something to do, and you're both overlooking the bay. Just the way I guess the layout is, it could have been a shorter way to say that. It's a new style of layout. It looks like a beast, man. It's got that chunky Drake look to it. That's the thing I love about Drake, man. Drake gives you your best bang for your buck. They give you a lot. It might not be bullet sponge and torpedoes or missiles or slingshots, but yo, they give you a lot. Jello Cudgel, what's up, my guy? Let's see, I think I built that in Starfield. Yo, it does look like something that you could build in Starfield. I mean, you could build damn near everything in Starfield. It's crazy the ships that they've put together in there. I've seen some that look like a big rig truck, look like Optimus Prime. It was crazy. That's space trucking. That's for real, space trucking. Speaking of space trucking, it's so good that they're putting in a really big ship that's not combat ship. I know a lot of people are all about that combat life. That's cool. Not everybody is though. I am to an extent, but then I like to do everything else too. I like to eat off the whole menu. I like a buffet. I don't like those little those little frou-frou restaurant dishes that they serve you where it looks like 2 dots with some syrup drizzled on it. I like to do everything, man. And that gives folks that's not into combat some more things to do and some more options to do it in. But anyway, yeah, I can see this being built in Starfield, especially when you look at those big thrusters. People love throwing the gigantic thrusters on the back of ships in Starfield. It's pretty much a rectangle, man. So this couldn't be too hard to make a Starfield, except for all the little details. Like the Drake ships has all kind of little details when you get close up on it, the angles and corners and piping, and it's just a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, Starfield, somebody's got to make it, man. Matter of fact, let me make it official first. Let me make it a contest in there. Maybe I could do a ship giveaway for that. Dallas Scanling, haha, Fatterpillar is perfect. Definitely going to be the community name for it if it isn't already. Oh yeah, man, Fatterpillar is clutch, man. It's obvious. It's an obvious go-to, man. Fatter Caterpillar. It looks like they took a caterpillar into their favorite 3D software and then just kind of like cloned it 3 times and then like smashed them together to make one big ship and threw a ramp on the front of it. But yeah, man, I can't stop thinking about that thing. It's the only ship I've been excited about for a long time. That separate module that comes off on the side, I like that. I don't understand why they said you should only use it in emergencies. When the Caterpillar one in the lore of it, when truckers bring in their Caterpillar cargo while they're waiting for the loading offloading, they take that module off and go race with it. So I don't understand why Fatterpillar's command module is only supposed to come off in emergencies. That's not how it's gonna go down in the game. People gonna do that all the time on a whim. Yo, that seems like something that while you waiting on boxes to go on and off the ship, you can go do a mission. You just separate when your command module, go down to a surface, do a little bunker mission, come back. Maybe your ship's loaded by then. Serious. Can you do a review on a ship? Yeah, man, no problem, man. Just hit up Chris Roberts and tell him that you want your boy Dig to have an early review version of that ship, and I'll get that cracking for you, man. Fox Velox sounds a little salty. 6-person crew for this versus the 7 minimum for the Polaris isn't that far off. Hey, again, I got to go back to what I said earlier, man. Actually, you know what? First of all, I don't have any sodium in my diet. I don't do sodium. I'm not a sodium person. Wouldn't want to be a sodium person. Wink. Anyway, you know, cargo ship, you can fly that by yourself. Minimum crew is probably you. You're gonna be doing a lot of loading, offloading on there, but you can run that by yourself. It doesn't have any special needs that you can't take care of yourself unless you get into some combat, which inevitably is gonna be happening, man. It's a big cargo ship, it's a good sized target, so you want to be prepared in the case that might come up, which can be anytime, but you can get it done with one. Polaris, on the other hand, say you do got a minimum crew, like 7 people. There's a lot of orgs out there and people that are just gonna be drooling looking at you, and that you're basically gonna be buying. If you're gonna run with a minimum crew in a Polaris, you're basically buying that ship for other people, for whoever comes to take your ship. You try and run minimum crew against anybody else, person with 10 people, like just a couple other people, you're gonna get yapped. You're gonna get yapped out there, man. But I'm not knocking buying it, you know, if you don't have that many people to play with. I'm just saying you're gonna get yapped. BZK, thanks for the vid, man. Trying out the game for the first time, and it's so tough to figure out what to do and why. I got myself some SCU boxes, some gear, and a ship. Time to go and grind some money. The reason I'm responding to this comment is put in the edit. Sadly, SCU containers seem to be bugged at the moment. Wasn't able to put anything inside them, and I heard a couple of friends who had the same issue. Yeah, so that's a known bug right now. It's a known issue. With the new tech they put in, it's messing with the inventory, which touches so many of the systems in the game right now. If you buy an SCU box that you want to, you know, put your loot in or whatever in, if you see an infinity symbol, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to put anything in it. If you got some in it, you probably can't retrieve it. So until they fix that, you know, make sure you take a look at your box first before you try to use it, which I hate to say that. I hate that that's the case, because that's coming from my Road to Riches video, where part of it is looting up weapons and armor in early in your career to make some extra credit, Chini Alfredo. So hopefully that's fixed soon. And that's one of the major blockers for going into 323.3, which, beautiful thing, if you hadn't heard already, that's gonna have the hanger update in it. And yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be chef's kiss magnifique. Going back to the crew thing, my man MGB, I can't fully crew my MSR. Yeah, that's how it is, man. I had somebody else comment they can't even fully crew their cutty. That's how it is with most people. Most people don't have a lot of people that they can just, you know, on a whim grab and have them crew their ships. People's best bet is to try and get crew in game, because average person probably on a good day is going to have like 4 or 5 people on a good day to put inside their ships, that's willing to put inside their ships. You got to remember, man, everybody in the game wants to be the captain of their own vehicle, their own space whip. It just kind of is what it is. Jester, voice from the future, still can't redock the Merlin to the Constellation in 323. Maybe next time. See, that's unfortunate, because I know at least in EPTU that the Merlin was able to dock to the Connie. And if it's broke again, or I guess since they put it on live and you got more people playing, which exposes more issues in the game, that you're not able to do it, that's unfortunate, man, because that's a beautiful thing. If you guys haven't been in a ship in a constellation where the other person was flying and then you hop into the Merlin and then just drop out the back of that joint and join the fight, it's one of the dopest things you could do in the game. Fix it, CIG. Nah, but we could really use that. Zulu Foxtrot. All these guys use the military alphabet. And when is this game going to go live? Just cracking me up that fanboys are still throwing money at this ridiculous scam. And then we got another one. This game is a scam. These are the weirdest comments, man. I never understand them, because why are you watching this video if you don't like this game? You think it's a scam? What are you watching a ship breakdown for? How come you're not watching the videos for the games you like to play? Anyway, scam is a goofy word for this game that's employing like what, 800 people right now. It's one of the most impressive games you could play right now. So anyway, that's enough time for that. Synthetic TV. I hope they allow poor people like me to buy it in game. I really love the Polaris. So yeah, that's the thing, man. It's more rewarding to buy any of the ships in game. There's some ships that you want to have, but I think people get so excited when a new ship drops that they just clamor on it, man. People can't pull out their wallet fast enough, which I get, man. I don't know why it's so exciting every time, but it's FOMO. You see it and you don't want to miss out. But yeah, like I said, man, I think it's more rewarding to earn the ship. When you earn your way up, when you zero to hero, one, a better appreciation for the ships. 2, you're going to be more skilled over a variety of ships, because, you know, sometimes that ship that you spent $800 on is going to be on the claim timer. Also, you got to have some goals in the game. When you buy up every ship that come out, then once you make, I don't know, a few million, 10 million, you ain't really got nothing else to do. And right now, unfortunately, at the time, it's just no other progression in the game than earning money and buying ships, which is a progression in a lot of games, like even Elite Dangerous. Yeah, man. So maybe slow down on buying up. Yeah, you don't have to have them all, do you? But if you do, man, just go for it, man. There's nothing wrong with trading dollars for time. Revenge X Moon. This dude used to make the most hilarious comments, man. I'd always go into my comment section if I seen his name pop up. I knew it was gonna be funny. Polaris. Would you have to have everyone on a server in order to do anything? Yeah, man. That's if you want to fully rock that thing, you're gonna have to have a lot of people on your ship. Obviously not everyone on the server, but you know, some of those ships, looking at you, Javelin, you need to have a squad of like 80 to fully rock that joint. That's a lot of people, man. I remember back in the day when the server cap was, I think it was 50, and I did a contest to give away the Cuddy Steel, and we did something in game for somebody to win it, and so I had everybody sitting inside the Cuddy Steel, and I forget how many seats that is, but that was almost the entire server in one ship. Obviously we got higher player capacity now in the servers, but it's going to be weird to have 80 people on one ship looking for 80 more people to kill. I want to see how that works out. Another one from RevengeX. I have high hopes for 323. I had hoped they would put a casino at Bevik. Where is Bevik? Mob gameplay sounds fun, but forget about it. I've been hoping, and I'm sure a lot of you have been hoping for them to do the casino at Grim Hex. They got the slot machines and the racing gambling, just teasing us. Been teasing us for years. I don't even go in it no more. I don't want to look at it and be sad. But I'm hoping they do open up more stuff like that that's not necessarily a gameplay loop, but just for fun. Right now, everybody's making their own fun with their own player created events or ship shows. I always look at Grand Theft Auto, man. They were brilliant with it. Like after you're done doing the missions and the heists and all that, you can do things like get on your yacht, chill out on your yacht with some of the homies, go into your apartments or penthouse, go gamble in the casinos, just all kind of side stuff that has nothing to do with the regular gameplay loops that are just for fun. When the bullets are done flying, you just go chill out and doing stuff like that. We need that in Star Citizen badly, I think. Obviously, we need to get the game finished first. I hate to say first. Give us a couple of those things to do, but after the game is was it Star Citizen 1.0? After we hit that milestone, please start putting those things in there. That keeps us engaged, man. And you want us to be engaged, don't you, man? So I thought this is funny. Game of Thrones fans are giving up on the Winds of Winter, which is the next book in the Game of Thrones series, and I can understand where they're coming from, man. Because I was I used to read this series called The King Killer Chronicles. The first book in the series was called The Name of the Wind, and it was dope. I ain't gonna get into all the details of it, but it was a hot series. Dude did a sequel. This came out in 2007. Dude did a sequel in 2011, and we've been waiting on the third book to finish it off ever since. That's been, what, 13 years? We've been waiting for the sequel for 13 years. So I understand where they're coming from with the Game of Thrones. Or is any of the books even called Game of Thrones, or is that just the TV show title? But whatever, y'all know what I'm talking about. George R.R. Martin. See, I'm starting to forget his name. He's working on it, man, and it's a hard thing. I understand his perspective too, because man, sometimes the words just don't come. Oh man, especially when I'm writing something for somebody else's video. So he's got like 1,100 pages done, and he has like a few hundred more to go. I don't know if it's writer's block or it's probably one of those things where he's got so much pressure to make it good after the success of the series and how many more fans that he has for it now. That is just overwhelming to finish this thing off and finish it off right. So this right here, Microsoft rumored to buy Steam for $16 billion. Man, you know what, right now, I don't think anybody wants to hear that, especially with Microsoft having acquired and closed so many studios. They're like the new Embracer Group. If you don't know about Embracer Group, they bought up so many studios, including the people who made Saints Row, and just shut them down, man. Microsoft buying Steam, I don't like to hear that. Well, one, because it's not a good look. They already just closed down a bunch of studios. Now they're gonna put 16 billion into Steam. Maybe they close studios to have money for Steam. But either way, what happens is when any company makes these big acquisitions, the first thing that they do is some cost cutting measures. And where do you start with cutting costs? People. People get caught up in the ever insatiable need to expand and appease the shareholders. The shareholders, they want to see expansion. They want to see that stock price go up. And you know, you gotta keep feeding the beast to do that. But it's at the detriment of people. The studios that they acquire, you know, the person who sells off, they're gonna be good. They got that nice clean parachute, but everybody else, man, the industry has lost so many developers this year. It's in the tens of thousands. There's a good amount of developers, but it's not like millions and millions of developers. The industry is big as far as what it makes. It makes more than the film industry and the music industry combined, which is crazy. Yeah, tens and tens of thousands of developers being laid off just this year. Actually, I think that was just like the first quarter of this year. It's devastating. So I don't want to see any more of that. I thought Microsoft getting Bethesda was a good move. I really like to see that at the time, just because Xbox needed some exclusives. I still got a lot of love for console in my heart, even though I don't have a console anymore, but that's where I came from. So I always, you know, in the Sony versus Xbox thing, I was never on that. Who wants to fight about which video game is better based on which one you bought? That's the kind of stuff doesn't matter to me, but I always thought that Xbox they were weak in exclusives, and Bethesda was fertile ground to to have some exclusives and make the Xbox a more viable console. But now that that's over and they're shutting down other studios, consolidating big companies, it's not sustainable. A lot of people is going to lose on that, and you keep going too far with it, you lose on that. I mean, Microsoft's such a big company that, you know, they're not just invested in games, that, you know, all across the PC space and the tech space in general. But it's just not a good move, especially in the current climate of developers closing down. Plus, I want Steam to be its own thing. I don't want these companies to be all intermingled. Let Steam be Steam and Microsoft be Microsoft. It's always better to have competition. Lack of competition, everybody loses except for the person who made the purchase. Shout out to the good folks at Gearbox and Firebridge. I want to mention them. I did some work with them on Homeworld Vast Reaches. Obviously, I wasn't developing the game. I wasn't coding, nada. That's not what I do. Y'all know what I do. I won't play RTS games, but this one kind of got me a little, I'm probably gonna check out more of them because of this game. The only RTS game that I was really ever into was Halo Wars. Those was dope. I think I played them both, Halo Wars 1 and 2. I might have to pick those up again. Now that I've played in VR, I hate to go back to flat games, but I do want to check out the other Homeworld games because I've never seen, I know the story of Homeworld Vast Reaches, but I don't know, I need to know what happened before, because Homeworld Vast Reaches is in between Homeworld 1 and 2. So I need to go check out what the story is to lead up to that. Story feeds my soul, man. Ain't nothing like a good game wrapped in a good story. But Vast Reaches is a good starting point for folks that are new to strategy games, like me. Again, I haven't played since Halo Wars. So if you don't regularly play strategy games and you look at them and it looks confusing as hell, yeah, me too. But this one, it's easy to jump into, man. For folks that are already fans of the series, this will give you some fresh new for that gap between Homeworld 1 and 2. Some major things happened in between the two games, and definitely worth checking out. It's pretty dope to get down with an RTS and VR, especially since it has pass-through. So you can fill your room with the map and asteroids and see everything going on around you, or you can shrink it down and just play it on your tabletop. Firebridge and Gearbox aren't sponsoring me, but I do have an extra key on deck for the first person to ask for it in the comments. You do need a MetaQuest 2 or 3 to run it though. It'll be on Steam later, but for right now, MetaQuest 2 and 3. But let me know. I'll let your boy. First come, first serve. This is the saddest cancellation that I wasn't even aware there was something to be canceled. It sucks, man. Star Trek Legacy was going to be a spinoff of Star Trek Picard. And if you've seen it, season 3 was the hotness, man. It had the old Enterprise crew from the Next Generation on deck. So the spinoff would have been Star Trek Legacy. It would have had 7 of 9 in command and would have had the old bridge crew. And then they could have brought in like people from Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Love to see Cisco again, man. The Cisco. So folks been holding out hope for a long time. The showrunner, Terry Matals, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. He had been very vocal about wanting to do Star Trek Legacy, but I guess it's that's on the back burner, if not canceled, because he's doing Vision now. Doesn't completely kill all the hope for Legacy, but at least we have Star Trek Section 31 coming up with Michelle Yeoh. That'll satiate the appetite for a little bit. So there were some new Starfield updates teased. After the recent update where they put in a ton of stuff, ton of quality of life fixes, the new map system, new ship customization, gameplay options like adjusting vendor credits, survival stuff, carry capacity increase. It worked out well for them. They saw a 70% increase of players back in the game, which I want to be one of them, but bruh, they need to fix my corrupted saves. That's crazy, man. I need that. Anyway, so at the end of the blog post from Bethesda, they teased out the future of Starfield, which included land vehicles, official mod support. Been waiting on that for what they call EVA, and the Shattered Space expansion. We've been waiting on that for what they call EVA. Better late than never. I'm glad they fixing the game up in the meanwhile while we waiting on this new stuff. But yeah, I can't wait to see some mod support for the game, man. I'm a big Fallout 4 fan, and I'm going crazy not being able to use all the mods because, like on the last Back to You video, mods are broken. Well, they're broken depending on how you got them. F4SC, if you got that, it's still working on getting that back in pocket. A lot of people that made mods for it, they got to update their stuff for it to work. Anyway, back to Starfield. Yeah, we need some mods for that. The game really opens up, especially if you've beat the game already. Once you got mods in place, you can make it damn near a whole new game, have a whole new look. It's just a beautiful thing when you have the mods to support the game. The longevity of the game is so stretched out once you have that in place. The Shattered Space expansion, I don't even really remember what that's about, but I mean, it's a big story update. So yeah, can we? I think we are ready for that. But it might be good timing once they got these other things in place and maybe the player count increases a bit more, then the Shatter expansion will probably be the tipping point to get player base just saturated, allowing them to do even more stuff with the game. If you missed the last Back to You video, you can check it out right here. Big cookie dough ice cream shout out to all my execs, Patreons, YouTube members, and super chatters. Your support is very much appreciated. Salute, fly dirty citizen.